Welcome back to our continuing coverage of the North American LCS. Now, to help me wade through the flood of Twitter responses, that's why I need help.
It's okay, you're related. Good job.
Freak Turley. Now, to remind you all, we asked which NA LCS player would you like making the calls on your ranked team and why? And here are just a few of our favorite responses. At Brutal Omega, Bjergsen. He knows so much and plays so well, I'll follow him into battle any day.
Yeah, I gotta say, Bjergsen is a great player. And just the fact that he's gonna like win his lane all the time anyway, he's used to killing everybody in front of him. Like, yes, please kill their front line for me so I can just follow you and just, you know, be brain dead. It'll be great. I'd love to play Bjergsen.
Yeah, I'd be pretty confident following the Spring Split MVP.
I feel like you do well.
Yeah, exactly. All right, our next one we got at Fuzzy Pink Koalas. I would want Vasilii making the calls. Why? Because I want to go full Lomo.
Who doesn't want to go full Lomo? That's like one of the best ways to play League of Legends. In fact, I might be rock jumping in front of him.
There you go.
I already go full Lomo.
It'll just be leapfrog.
Yeah.
Who can
Dude, that'd be so fun. One for all Tristana. Just go. Google Psalms for days.
Absolutely. All right. And then our next one is at Lord William V. High. Definitely high. He's intelligent and decisive, and everyone knows what to do when he's in charge.
Yeah, I got to say, I think Cloud9 have probably the best comms of any of the teams in the North American LCS. And it's just everyone respecting High, saying, you know, we trust his judgment. He's going to make the calls, and we'll go for it. And I mean, largely, C9 is an incredibly good team, and I got a lot of faith in High as well.
Yeah, absolutely. We saw it in the video feature earlier where everyone was silent except for High on those comms, which is quite impressive. And then our final tweet is at Total Reach Voyboy because he's always positioning positive, even in bad situations, and that's what I would want to keep morale high.
Yeah, I really like that as well, and it's one of the things that you have to be able to embrace as a professional player. Is you're going to have upsides and downsides to your season, to your team overall. There's going to be things that go well, things that go poorly, and Voyboy's been around forever. Curse, unfortunately, has never, or even with his older teams as well, he's never necessarily been like the #1 team. So he's used to taking losses, and he's done a very good job to be an awesome player and an awesome person throughout that. And hey, Cursor may be surging up at the end here.
Yeah, being positive, staying positive is very important when looking for those wins going into the postseason. Now that's it for the tweets. We've got a thank you, and we're going to send it over to Riv and Kobe for our next match.
Mucho gracias, El Rapido. Hello, everyone. Taking over the co-caster chair for the back half of our broadcast is Sam Kobe Hartman Kensler, this guy right here. And we're going to be jumping into the action with Team SoloMid versus LMQ. With CLG's loss in our last game, LMQ are poised to take sole possession of first place with a win right here.
The thing is, TSM are 0-2 against LMQ, but they've shown a lot of improvement since they last faced off in Week 6. The whole team has improved in their vision control. Locodoco has specifically been focusing on this with the team, and all of the players have made this a priority. As well, their individual play has improved. The last time that these two teams met, Dyrus played that Gragas for the first time. He did end up missing a lot of those ults and skill shots, but since he's gone back to the champion and had way more success in those subsequent games. Amazing as well, he has gone from a jungler out to make individual moves to playing more in step with the rest of the team. And he's developed trust with his laners and has definitely made him a much more selfless jungler.
And for Vasilii, he's had some huge games for LMQ and is currently undefeated on his Tristana.
Yeah, and so far he actually hasn't drawn any bans for that champion either. I mean, LMQ are definitely a team that focus heavily on that early game, and Vasilii can use Tristana to shove early and create pressure in the laning phase, but also use her as a good insurance policy in case of a late game.
That's right. And in the art of war, Sun Tzu says, you have to know thy enemy. But in the case of Vasilii and WildTurtle, what do you do if your enemy plays just like you?
我觉得 TSM 现在已经比赛季初更难打，因为他们在有了教练 Locodoco 来了之后，就整体的战术就部署有完美的很多。
LMQ is a kind of a weird team to play against. They have a really smart jungler, really good solo lanes, and they have a reckless AD carry. Like Vasilii will just go ham.
There's not that much to really contrast between Vasilii and Turtle. They play almost the same. They're both mechanically really good. They like to win really hard and be aggressive in team fights. Sometimes they can walk a bit too far forward and get punished for their positioning.
Turtle and Vasilii against each other is just who can jump in and die the most. And the team that dies the least will probably win the game.
The only consistent member that I consider on that team are like Moore, who's amongst the top 4 supports in the game right now. He is really good at skill shots. He may actually be mechanically the best support in NA. I just think that his roaming is also strong and he kind of keeps Vasilii in check.
我觉得就打
TSM 一定要就注意他们打野的动向，几乎 TSM 就是依靠就打野的gank来建立起优势，然后滚去学球了。我觉得做好视野就防止好gank的话，就比较打得会比较轻松。
So I hope they're right in the fact that everybody's just going to jump in and die for the 80 carries because that makes it a really fun game, and it'd probably be a little less close than these ones have been, but we get a lot more action. So I don't know what the trade-off is. What do we want?
I am definitely excited to see because both these teams are very early game oriented and they like to fight early.
I like it. So let's check out the starting lineups and get to this early. On the blue side, it's Team SoloMid. That's going to be Dyrus in the top lane. Amazing in the jungle. Bjergsen in mid lane. WildTurtle at AD and Gleeb on support.
And on the red side, it's LMQ. Up top, Ackerman. In the jungle, NoName. Mid, XiaoWeiXiao. AD carry Vasilii, and support more.
And just to cast your minds back, as D-Man would say, both of these games now go to LMQ that they faced off. Obviously, one red, one blue, now being back on the red side for this matchup. We'll have to see if they, with all that respect that they do give to the lanes, if they decide to, you know, strategically focus that respect that they give to the mid lane, that they give to the bottom lane, that they know Amazing can do things, or then does TSM, you know, focus out more, not give him any skill shot champions? Are they really going to stick with what they said, or do things change on the fly? Because we've seen that hurt LMQ and Champion Select when they try to change on the fly.
I think there is going to be a lot of emphasis on the jungler's early moves in this game because TSM really like to leverage Amazing to get the lanes ahead now in the early game. And that laning phase is going to be extremely important for both of these teams. Probably will shake out into standard lanes because neither Turtle or Vasilii will shy away from that 2v2 matchup.
Now, that's kind of what we want to see. We want to see the fight, but hopefully they keep with it. And the Tristana is definitely going to be an overall pick here, at least a ban for Vasilii. We've seen Turtle back and forth on the 80 carries he plays, a lot of results on Corki, a lot of results on everything that he's played, and also had a few of his own double-digit games. So
yeah, Turtle has also used that Tristana too, so TSM could easily take that away if they really valued it that highly.
Nunu getting banned out right away. They see the pressure that Nunu can bring, and NoName was one of the first ones to do it here in the North American LCS in the summer split. So they'll stop that right there.
Yeah, so far though, no top lane bans. There's a lot of very strong top laners available right now.
Yeah.
Gragas and Nidalee are probably the two strongest as far as lane bullies are concerned right now, and Gragas definitely one of Dyrus' favorites, but Nidalee as well stepping into the scene. Quash showed that he could handle her fairly well though, so if you get enough practice in, then maybe she's not all she's hyped up to be.
That's going to ban out this game. A lot of the jungle has been left to the wayside in focus of bans today. Nunu does, as we said, find out the first one. But Kog'Maw is going to be the last ban with more mid and that one top focused in Italy. Does he lock in the Gragas now?
They ban out Nunu, but they leave up Lee Sin and Lee. So those will probably be our two junglers in this game. And they don't have to early pick one of those junglers since both of them are up.
You say they have to take Tristana if they're going to leave it up. That's their takeaway from Vasilii. And then the Kog'Maw's banned, so he's forced to go on to something else now. Very good play at least there. I don't think Vasilii will be thrown off too much though. LMQ's champion pool is quite big in every lane.
Yeah, Twitch still up, Qi-Lin still up.
Right.
Definitely some options that Vasilii is still comfortable with. Taking up the lane partner though with Braum. And Gragas is a really big takeaway from Dyrus. As we said, Dyrus has really fallen in love with that champion up in the top lane.
Actually hasn't reverted much to Lulu this season either. He only has 2 Lulu games coming out in that top lane. Ones that have been quite well. 1 win, 1 loss.
Yeah, it's kind of funny how the top lane kind of turned into champions that are rejected mid laners. Like Ryze got kicked up there, Kale got kicked up there, Lulu, Gragas. All these people that can't really hack it anymore in mid lane. Nidalee's now up there all the time.
Soon Xerath, man.
Hey, Zoaz played Ziggs up there, so.
Yep. Some Cassidans, some Gragases.
There's your Lulu, though.
Let's see where it goes. I'm not so sure we saw a mid-lane Tristana already, so. No, just WildTurtle probably.
Yeah, that is, I'm pretty sure that's a specific Voy Boy strategy there. Not a lot of the other North American mids, at least, have been practicing the Tristana mid. Definitely a Voy Boy special.
Okay, amazing. Pulling out the Rango Knife Cat. It looks like they're going to put together a composition that seems like it would kind of zero you out, but also want to keep the fight going for a while.
Yeah, so the thing is, if you're picking Rengar over Lee Sin and Elise here, then you really need to make something happen with those ultimates. Whoa. The Ezreal. Now,
like
Ezreal's an interesting AD carry that's been blind picked over in Korea above all other options in some of the games. And Vasilii has always been a guy who really likes that champion as well, so opting for that instead of the Twitch or Caitlyn this time around. Ezreal's a very tricky champion. Depends all on if you hit those skill shots in lane phase. If you miss a couple in a row, then you can easily just lose out that entire lane.
That whole team is skill shot dependent. LMQ is bringing out the skills on this one. We'll see if they can get everything to hit. They are a very mechanically enhanced team. Still, they go with the XiaoWeiXiao Twisted Fate. Looking back, he has.
I'm wondering about that
played it a
mid
few
lane
times.
because anytime you're facing a Rengar jungle, your mid lane has to be real careful. TF is definitely a prime target for Rengar as soon as he does hit that level 6. And Xerath can easily follow up on any Rengar gank without giving away the Rengar gank because the range on Xerath is so long. Bjergsen doesn't have to play differently at all.
Right.
Doesn't have to give anything away. And all of a sudden, you're getting rooted by Amazing as soon as he jumps in with a 5 Ferocity Bola strike.
Also something that can stick on an Ezreal, which works. You are going to have a little bit of that kite, but if, like you said, you can hit those Bola strikes, you're going to be back on your target in a matter of no time. So as we lock in these ones, we do see Twisted Fate was picked by XiaoWeiXiao. I believe it was in week 7 against Counterlogic Gaming. They did get a win there, so it has been a tested Twisted Fate. Let's see if he can keep making the plays. Before the game gets underway, let's see how you have been voting over at lolesports.com. And you voted 65% that it's going to be Team SoloMid leading LMQ coming into this match.
Yeah, and keep on tweeting your votes to @LOEsports. Use the hashtag either TSMWin or LMQWin. This game, after seeing the Champions League, I think a lot is actually going to rely on XiaoWeiXiao, that TF. If XiaoWeiXiao can have a good early game and a good start, get LMQ off aggressive, and start teleporting around the map, then he can actually increase the chances of the side lane, exert his will on the other side of the map. But if he gets targeted early by TSM, then this LMQ team could very easily collapse.
We'll have to watch what Bjergsen can do in the mid lane. He's been kind of making some social media tweets and, you know, these champions are back, these are not. We haven't seen him yet, but maybe that's when TSM really needs to pull out all the hard straws and make sure they get the win that they want. Coming up towards the end of the season here, these are going to be big ones. We see LMQ trying to shoot for first place. Now that is actually happening because Counterlogic Gaming lost earlier today versus Evil Geniuses. So LMQ is really looking to get a top spot within the North American LCS. A lot of teams, as they came into the season, said LMQ would, in the end, be a middle-of-the-pack team, and they're trying to prove that.
Yeah, especially with, CLG losing earlier today. It is LMQ's time to shine. Can they take it?
Welcome to Summoner's Rift.
Cruising around, the Nami pick on Gleeb. Get some Surfle safeness for WildTurtle. And we're actually going to get a quick listen in with how Gleeb felt about Champion Select. Let's take it here.
We know this comp, we got our picks, now we just got to play the game.
Last time TSM said they knew the comp and they got their picks was against CLG and they lost the game. See if they can actually execute this time around with LMQ. This LMQ team is a very mobile LMQ squad here.
Yeah.
Almost everybody having their own dashes built in, and then XiaoWeiXiao with the very popular Ghost Flash now. It's funny how it was kind of pioneered by Dade in Korea a long time ago. The only guy was doing it for a long time. Now everybody's hopped on the train.
It's Taster's choice in the mid lane, man. You got to take it.
Well, with the arms race that's going on in the mid lane, with everybody wanting more wave clear and more range, who can bring out the bigger guns, it's definitely turned more towards mobility.
Still waiting for the Lux in North America, man.
Yeah.
Still waiting. It's getting love everywhere else.
LPL and GPL get a little taste.
Every time someone plays it, though, they're like, that guy's crazy, or he was amazing to hit all those skill shots. Because it is. It's very hard to hit all of them. But it's becoming a skill shot game. It's eventually going to happen.
Yeah, especially with Ziggs and Xerath, though. Might be a while till we see Lux come up.
I know, wishful thinking. We start off the game here, just a mere 2 minutes in. Red buff's being stolen up, so standard starts by both junglers. We'll see how this lane in the mid goes. XiaoWeiXiao, does he keep his farm up? And does he keep Bjergsen down?
A couple of defensive wards here early on from TSM as well. Lee Sin can get the advantage on Rengar if he finds him in the jungle. No funny business though. We do get the standard lanes we expected, and it is going to be about who can make that first early move. Already, Dyrus is shoving up very quickly with Lulu to get the wave advantage on Ackerman, and we'll see if NoName would make his way all the way back up there. Because he started red, which is further away from his duo lane, a little bit slower jungle, and it means he will end his route further away from that top lane.
Yep. Like you said, I like what TSM's doing, Kobe. Pushing all the lanes in right now and trying to get a nice little bit of a lead, so NoName has a lot more things to think about just one lane here.
It's always a good idea to coordinate your strategy among all your lanes because Tristana actually has no option but to push unless you decide not to level up your explosive shot, which would mean you have no early trading. So Tristana obviously always going to push up. Easy target for many junglers. NoName goes around the back, no ward here. And this is the first successful gank already able to get in here.
It's all about the Gleeb bubble. Can he hit it? Doesn't throw it out just yet. Goes for the sustain first. They do hit the rest of what they want. 2 flashes blown in the bottom lane. The commotion has started. So XiaoWeiXiao with an immediate look on that bolo. Dodges 2 out.
Both
what a
summoners
fast
though.
flash. Yeah,
man,
very quick.
Both junglers at the first ganks get 2 summoners each. Well played by both.
From both sides.
Targeting different lanes though. As we said, TSM are going to look at this mid lane. They don't want to let TF get out of control. Meanwhile, Tristana is such a beast late game. LMQ wanted to prey on her obvious early pushing.
Right.
And both of them are rewarded. We'll see if they return to the lanes though, or decide to actually go for counter ganks.
It would always be good to get Bjergsen going on Xerath. First time here, bringing it out in the LCS would not hurt. Get a bit of a lead on a champion the first time you're bringing it out in this high priority or high skilled play.
Yeah, and look at what this does to the lane. XiaoWeiXiao has to play so ridiculously safe now, having burned both summoners.
Yeah.
Amazing with the early return to lane. What a good call by XiaoWeiXiao to realize there's no option for him. He cannot extend up into this lane without wards, so he goes back immediately to buy some more vision for himself. NoName also going to help him out, buy some extra vision as well.
That little push by Amazing as well. They didn't see that XiaoWeiXiao was still there and perfectly pushed the lane in. He does miss a good amount of CS, so everything, even the smallest things, being coordinated nicely by Team SoloMid. Gold is still even. XiaoWeiXiao reapproaches the lane 33-24. We'll see if he can get himself back into a position to shut down Bjergsen, who, like we said, had a chance to buy that chalice now. Coming back to lane. Turtle, a little too close. He's getting shots on a very pushed wave. You can see the explosive shot's going to push it even more for him, so it's getting hard here.
A similar thing happened to this bottom lane as what went on in mid here. You know, Tristana loves to push early, especially against the Braum lane, but it's so dangerous for them now because Lee Sin and Braum are such a great tag team for lane ganks because they can both dash to allied units, and they can easily just, even if you ward up perfectly, Lee Sin can come through lane and punish you. So Gleeb specifically has to play further back. Turtle at least does have his rocket jump to rely on.
And the Scrying Orb coming out of
the return mid.
That was a very close lockdown. The bolo after that as well. NoName comes in for a bit of help, and he is going to be able to thwart the attack. XiaoWeiXiao playing very aggressive for a zero summoners play, but they knew they had some control there.
Yeah, and some extra harass on the exit there. Now, we're about to see Bjergsen hit level 6, and XiaoWeiXiao is dangerously low. Xerath is definitely capable of finishing off that TF,
instantly.
Who has no summoner spells. We'll see if Bjergsen can rush this level 6.
NoName.
There it is, but XiaoWeiXiao immediately backs off to his turret.
He has the mana for it too.
He's going to have to land more harass before to set this up, though.
I really like the way NoName's been playing. Always staying in the mid lane. He'll probably do it until these summoners are up for XiaoWeiXiao, and he's also just getting in the face of Amazing to make sure he can't gank mid lane.
The thing is, with all these ganks mid lane, Amazing is delaying his level 6. He's only level 4 here at 645. So it's going to be a while before he does get his level 6. Needs that extra comeback experience from farming the jungle. Probably just going to wait until his buff comes back up. You get a lot of bonus experience being that low level and killing the buff monsters.
We saw this previously when Kez was on Elise and Dominate was on Rengar. Kez didn't really put too much pressure onto that Dominate Rengar, but now that we see NoName is, we're not seeing the
level
same
6 wave
early
down.
game
Here we go,
results.
Ghosts!
Can he get it? Oh, he goes down the red card. It's gonna be enough though. It's gonna be enough.
So
Bring it in
even
first blood.
even though he pulls the red, it's plenty because
Said you're out of the game.
early gank by NoName. Yeah.
Wee! He's safe. Catches that one on the backside. He'll clean up and get back into the fight. Amazing. Now hitting
There it
6. Now going to be able to create some opportunities, and he might even go double turrets here onto XiaoWeiXiao, but they don't have knowledge of where NoName is. So.
They should definitely be calling that XiaoWeiXiao just uses Ghost down bottom too, so he's a prime target here for Amazing. But he knows it, and they have a ward on the red side jungle. Xiao Amazing get into this position. So you will not see him get away from his turret right now. Amazing out of luck.
It's like Vasilii has had enough of farming in lane, and they're going to go ahead back and get some purchases in. 73 CS to 49 CS in that lane. It's okay to be behind a bit with Tristana, but that's a good amount.
Yeah, it was about the lane, the early lane ganks for the junglers. Like we thought, you can see the same discrepancy mid lane as far as CS is concerned.
Right.
The jungler impact on both of these lanes, you can really see the choices by both teams and which area they want to focus. Thing is, for TSM, even though they focused mid, XiaoWeiXiao still got off a successful first TF ultimate.
Very good plays, and always making them count when they get the chance. LMQ rarely goes into a situation where you'll see them completely come out on the wrong end. Pushing up still from Bjergsen here. He tries to get the wave continuously cleared into the turret to keep eyes on XiaoWeiXiao, and no more cheeky Destiny plays. Setting up for a bit of dragon control here. We'll see if LMQ can get this with a ward being just in the back of Dragon Pit.
Yeah,
they got it.
So
No pressure.
what happened is TSM stuck around to shove that last lane, preying on the bottom lane's back timers. Very good job by LMQ. That's the communication that we're talking about really early in the day, about communicating what time your lane opponents are going to want to return to base. You can keep track very easily just of the gold and estimate when your opponent is going to want to go buy their next item. Tristana goes back, having not purchased at all in the game, and they get the dragon for it.
Not a lot of commotions coming out of the top lane just yet. Ackerman's definitely been able to provide a very scary Gragas play, providing a tank utility for the team in the late game, and we know Dyrus to play quite a good Lulu in his utility, so much to see from them as this game goes on. 82 to 75 in that lane. Ackerman just off being able to complete his Rod of Ages for now. Dyrus has been happy to keep farming up. He says it's time to buy, Dyrus.
Top lane back to their own devices because there's so much focus mid for TSM and bottom for LMQ. And again, you know, the bonus of focusing bottom lane is that you get that dragon control. Translates into a nice global gold lead for LMQ.
Great harass in the top lane. Ackerman on the mini-map keeping Dyrus from backing there, being a little nuisance. We'll see if Amazing can get any movement out of this. Go ahead, plays a deeper ward on Wraiths. They'll have some good control here of the map as TSM trying to make some moves after knowing they lost that dragon. They might want a little bit of something.
All right, let's see what he can do here. Ultimate not used yet for Amazing. And Ackerman is going super aggressive.
Oh, what a perfect time to get him using his ultimate. Dyrus is going to sit there and say, oh no, I can't fight this. But yes, I can. Here comes Amazing on the back side. And they bait in an Ackerman.
So with Dragon already gone, that's the open time to go for those top lane ganks.
Yeah.
We'll see what they can do with that on the top lane pressure, though.
Fast feet Xiao dodging out Bjergsen's skill shots on that one. They're able to turn this around and trade back a bit of damage as Moore throws up the shield. Now settling into mid lane, Amazing's going to be able to push top. TSM looks to get mid, and LMQ adapts to the strategy.
What a roam mid from the bottom lane of TSM. The turret's not down. There's no... The wave was just shoved up, so they took the opportunity to go mid, and it's a good thing they did. Because Bjergsen going aggressive at the same time, LMQ were looking to make him pay for it. Lane swap here called for by TSM. Because we are getting to that mid game where Tristana really wants to farm to a completed Infinity Edge for her next item, Switching up Turtle to get a little bit easier of a farm lane here. This Ezreal, one of the things that he still has is a great build path. Trinity Force into Blade of the Ruined King is very popular and gives you a lot of skirmish ability. And with the focus from jungler down bottom, it's very easy for Ezreal to capitalize on any gank, whether it be from Lee Sin or TF.
Ooh.
Another red card.
Speedy Whimsy. XiaoWeiXiao, another Destiny down to the bottom lane. That one wasn't dangerous, but it also didn't work. So we're going to get a push on the lane. We'll be waiting a little bit of time before LMQ really tries to make another push.
And Vasilii shoving out this bottom lane, they may be looking to answer the swap here from TSM. LMQ probably want to counter that swap. They've already sent support up top.
Ooh.
Not able to pull an ulti.
Nope,
or,
trying to reel in that
summoner
fight.
with that ult. They still have so many resources up here, though.
Amazing on full stacks, tries to get in. Will he have to blow flash here? The Dragon's Rage into the Sonic Wave. Resonating strike finish. Nobody follows up for Amazing. The team's going down, but they take down Braum as well. 2 for 1 so far in the fight. Dyrus teleports right into the middle of the fight. He's probably regretting that decision right now. A double kill for XiaoWeiXiao. WildTurtle is forced to put on the full shell and head out.
That was a good plan from TSM and very bad execution. TSM could have had the easy numbers advantage because Ezreal is down bottom with Lulu, and Lulu's got teleport, but nobody comes at the same time here. Turtle is in the lane still. Gragas makes the early roam mid, and because Amazing starts this off without the rest of his team, he basically started off 2 versus 1. He's out of the fight so early. Even though Bjergsen goes deep to try and answer the kill, he's out of position, and TSM all trickle in one by one. Just poor communication and execution from TSM there in a situation that could easily have gone in their favor with a 5 versus 4. They just were not grouped up all at the same time to make that play happen.
Definitely pushing themselves into a dangerous situation to get back. Just that Dragon, very, very on the edge of their seat. To gain back a little, and it seems like they've fallen off.
Yeah, plus they use their teleport to try and salvage that play, and it's 50 seconds until this Dragon comes up. It won't be available. Now TSM are the ones at the disadvantage. If a 4 versus 4 fight breaks out around Dragon, Ackerman will join, and Dyrus won't be able to. So that action from TSM will have later repercussions as soon as this Dragon does spawn.
Dyrus trying to keep Ackerman in his vision. He can still polymorph the teleport out of that and make the fight a little bit more in favor of Team SoloMid here. But they don't have all the poke we actually saw coming out of the first composition of the day. Having more Nidalee, having a little bit more poke even from the bottom lane, and Morgana. With this Xerath, TSM can't put the same amount of pressure down onto an objective, so it seems like they're trying to find out if LMQ will make a mistake anytime soon. Mid lane is a possibility. You just saw the health on that turret, very, very low. So maybe Team SoloMid can kind of dance out that Dragon fight and then pressure mid as LMQ rotates to the Dragon.
I think that TSM might end up having to give up the Dragon because not only do LMQ have a teleport, but they also have several key items here. Trinity Force on Ezreal is really big for them. And also, Ackerman is shoving in up top. So even if he leaves lane, Dyrus won't be able to answer with that top turret.
Dragon's alive. You see most of TSM keeping those members in mid lane as NoName starts to get a lockdown on it.
Yeah,
if XiaoWeiXiao can hold this mid turret, this will be huge for LMQ and they can still get the Dragon.
It's gonna work on it. So Ackerman's gonna shove Dyrus into his turret as quickly as he can and then get away from Dyrus. If he wanted to join, he would have to still get out of range of Dyrus. Amazing heads up top, so TSM make the call. They're giving it up. 100% giving it up. They do not want to fight it.
No pressure on the mid lane either. TSM is spread thin across the map, and they get nothing out of that Dragon. Mid lane being a definite possibility as well.
Yeah, they made the call for Amazing to head up top, but he's walking right through a ward, so TSM literally cannot get anything out of that. And again, this is because of the early move that TSM made on this red side jungle. ends up making them lose out on a dragon.
Uh-oh. You can see the priority. Oh, the gold card comes out this time. 3rd time's a charm. We're going to be locking this one down. He says, where are you going? Stay and have a drink. Dyrus goes down, 30 seconds on the clock.
LMQ are just dismantling TSM, making them pay for that mistake. Whenever you're facing a TF team, especially, if you make one small mistake with your globals, then it snowballs very quickly.
XiaoWeiXiao knows what he's facing. That's his main right there in Tristana. And he's going to be able to play against it very accordingly. 174 to 130. We saw that CS advantage coming, as we said, from the jungle pressure in the early game. And Vasilii's been able to hold it very nicely. Heading to the mid lane, we can see priority on the boot selection. Alacrity for XiaoWeiXiao for playmaking. As little playmaking with his speed on the cards, but still there's playmaking in the distortion as well from Bjergsen.
Yeah, the thing is, you would expect a distortion on XiaoWeiXiao too,
right,
because he also has the Flash Ghost, but he just wants permanent move speed.
Yep, get those cards locked in.
Not when he's blowing his summoners. Very interesting choice. Especially if you're running Flash Ghost. The value of a distortion enchantment just seems like it's so high.
If it was for one person, it'd be Dyrus. I mean, they're bringing their teleports to Dyrus on the off chance that he's made it out on Whimsy every time. You know, XiaoWeiXiao is able to connect it. But that's a big buy for one dude. 5-2 here, 18 minutes on the clock. We're just going to get some ward wars.
Looks like they're jumping on Dyrus here, and they burn his flash for just the ultimate.
Yeah.
Now, the thing about the alacrity upgrade for XiaoWeiXiao, the only bonus it has over distortion is that in lane, it makes it easier for him to dodge Xerath harass.
Yeah.
So that is actually really important for him. And I'm pretty sure the only reason he is doing it this game is because they're facing the Xerath and he wants to dodge those long-range skill shots.
We did actually see him using Ghost earlier in that situation to get out, so he'll be saving a Ghost. He'll be a lot more happy. You're right. Slow pushes on the top. Then they finally get it. 2-2 and turrets on the map. Bjergsen, they're finally looking to set up a little bit of this poke, and he can put out the damage.
Yeah, half-life right there.
NoName looking to get in from the side and make some moves. You can see this actually wants to be a very big move for Team SoloMid. Bjergsen with the Brilliance Elixir in his inventory to get that extra damage out. These guys are putting some extra money into the stat.
Whoa, they need to teleport early from Dyrus if they're going to get caught here. LMQ does not pull the trigger, though. Guess it was a defensive TF ultimate to save their blue buff. Good call by TSM, leaving Dyrus up top. They don't panic teleport down there, and they at least get a minion wave into the turret.
Dyrus getting a really nice ward and a great minion wave in the top side to keep pushing, but he's starting to rotate over. Is he going to really try to steal out Red? They can still see Red is trying to run about. Amazing. Ooh. Taken out. Nicely done by NoName to steal it back. Wait, the rest of LMQ is kind of filtered in on the backside, and they didn't realize TSM was ready for a fight. TSM is going very low. The area of effect damage coming in huge from Ackerman. And they're going to continue this one on. The flash body slam into Gleeb. They're serving up sushi tonight with a double kill from Braum. Continuing now, WildTurtle. No jump, no reset. The artillery. Oh, XiaoWeiXiao is forced to turn tail there. Turns on the Ghost. And he says, that was close.
Bjergsen laying down the cover fire there for Turtle. Scares off XiaoWeiXiao, and they don't chase down the extra kill, which was a very real possibility using those alacrity boots. So here, even though they catch Vasilii, and Bjergsen plus Amazing, crazy burst onto Vasilii to take him out of the fight. They used everything at that point. Everybody's on the run now. This was actually a very high value red card from XiaoWeiXiao. He wanted the AoE damage and the AoE slow to go along with his wild cards. So much area of effect damage from the LMQ to answer just the one kill that TSM caught. Pretty big play, and it does increase the global gold lead for LMQ.
LMQ making a real good fight for 3 in a row versus Team SoloMid here in the summer split. TSM looking to right now stop that losing streak against LMQ, and they can make it even if they can grab this one here with 2 more games left in the season versus these guys.
TSM trying to hold on, and you can see how little information they have. The pings from TSM on Dragon a minute early because they don't know what time it's coming up. They want to get down some vision inside that pit. One of the easiest ways on this patch to snowball games from an early lead is just control every single dragon. And LMQ can easily do that, so TSM going to try and get back some more information for the team to give them hopes of countering. So much vision control from LMQ.
Yeah.
If you try and go anywhere near that Dragon Pit, you're going through LMQ vision.
Security system.
And they can easily pick you off. They've got such a mobile team and a TF to start it off who's already rushed his Zanyas.
They're going to have a second one, too, coming out on Ackerman, so even more plays to be made when you're trying to focus down the wrong guy, which at the time will be right, but LMQ is ready to strategize around whatever you think you have planned. Dragon's going again, Kobe. 7,000 gold lead, 8,000 as they start this.
TSM in a very, very scary spot here. They just go to try and steal it.
NoName gets it. Amazing. He's going to be the first one in the fight. Even if he throws his ultimate on, he's going down immediately. That's the ultimate of Destiny coming out. Does he go in the middle of the fight? No, he goes towards the backside. Dyrus gets locked down. The late wild growth only stops LMQ for so long, and we can't even see Bjergsen on the screen. All of TSM has already left the fight. He's trying to fight from the outside.
That's why that fight is so dangerous to go look at. Not only do LMQ control all that vision, but if you even get near LMQ, they will hard engage on you. All the champions are so mobile, and they have the early Zanya's TF. There's no way you're getting away from it. Going to contest a dragon snowballs that one fight to not only a dragon, but a Baron, which is ridiculously hard to come back from. Ginormous mid-game lead here from LMQ.
That is huge. Junglers don't even have second items completed, and we're looking at Barons here 23 minutes into the game. We'll check this fight out one more time.
Yeah, Amazing goes in for the steal, but he literally doesn't get a single, well, he got one spell off before he died, trying to get his heal, and it didn't matter at all. And then you can see, they just cut everybody off. They've got Ackerman, very mobile Gragas with teleport as well. XiaoWeiXiao, there's no way you're getting away from him.
I was wondering why Gleeb held that tidal wave so long, and then I felt his pain when I watched Moore block it with a shield.
Yeah, exactly. That's why people get so frustrated in the Nami versus Braum matchup, and that's why pretty much everybody, if you see the Braum first, go with the Morgana pick.
It's those intense moments in a fight when you know exactly what your job is, but you're waiting for the other guy to make that one move. Held off for a long enough time, and they were able to take down Amazing. The fight in LMQ's favor, now leading to them pushing down mid lane. Looking at a 12,000 gold lead right now, Kobe. That's very hard to stop, especially when you're the one dictating all the moves. TSM is forced to adapt to everything now. It's a good thing their side lanes are pushed because they can deal with this in mid, but I don't think they're going to be able to deal with it for very long.
No, they have no chance of in that turret. Not only is the Trinity Force Bork build on Ezreal extremely good for skirmishes and spread out teams like this, but it's also great at taking down turrets pretty early on.
Right.
You know, those Trinity Force procs.
You get attack speed, you give attack speed.
There's such a huge spike here in skirmish power for Vasilii. And he's almost finished his last Whisper on top of it, even though not much armor on the board for TSM. It's a preemptive last Whisper, I guess.
I like the rush by Amazing on the Locket, helping with a bit of the burst they find, and all this, it's really wild AoE that they're trying to dodge. Once the cards go out, they have a barrel, a sonic wave, all these skill shots. Oh, just tucked into the wall. Dyrus saves himself with the outside of his base.
That was very good for TSM. He almost negated that entire ult with just the shield on himself.
See, the sustain coming in ever so slowly on the side of Team SoloMid, but it hasn't seemed to help too much. You can see Vasilii sustaining just as well with the Blade of the Rune King on his side. He was taken down to half health just now, but able to keep him safe.
This is really the test for TSM though, because LMQ, they're running such a heavy mid-game power spike team. If TSM if they somehow hold out in this last ring of inhibitor turrets, then they will have a chance later if they can turtle it out long enough and defend the Alamo here. But man, the odds are really not in their favor.
Well, here we go. XiaoWeiXiao definitely getting some calls from NoName, captain of the team, to say, we still have this, Baron's down, map is objective free, let's start to spread Team SoloMid thin. XiaoWeiXiao now in the split push towards mid, while Baron still ticking on LMQ. They're going to force themselves into base.
Like they make the swing down the bottom, even calling XiaoWeiXiao.
Yeah.
TF ultimate is available, by the way. He could stay mid.
Yep.
And just TF ultimate as soon as there's a hard engage at this turret. Every time though, TSM's actually sent 2 members up there.
Quite a bit of wave to play with here. They're waiting on that one. 1 minute and 40 seconds on to Dragon. Really be the only thing LMQ would say. This is too much of a stalemate. We're getting nothing. Let's go get Dragon. So far, a good hold on Baron by Team SoloMid. Only a bit of time left, maybe under a minute now left on Baron for LMQ to work this. Good shot. LMQ gets caught. There's the tidal wave as they ride it. Huge damage coming in. Gleeb has forced to flash Dyrus as well, and LMQ can trade back.
Yeah, see, even with that pick, TSM cannot chase. Even if you take somebody out with no answer, there's no way that you can chase down.
14,000 gold behind fight.
Plus, the Baron buff was still on LMQ, so it's a really strong defense for TSM, though. And that's one step in many that they will have to take, but it's one step in the right direction for them. On the road to a comeback here for TSM. It's going to be a very long and arduous journey, though.
With that spike coming in from WildTurtle, about 600 gold. If he can lock it down, what's he packing right now? He has it, so he has the Infinity Edge. Looks like he'll go back and get that right now.
Yeah.
If they can protect him, there might be a chance coming in here, because you're still not looking at that much armor on the side of LMQ.
And you got to keep your eyes on Bjergsen here too. Xerath is a very good substitute for Ziggs in these situations, trying to defend. Also has extremely strong wave clear that can be used as harass at the same time. If you if you can aim true. That was that shot didn't mean anything though. He didn't even need to hit that.
He was calibrating.
Couple minions, he still got them. Exactly.
28-28 on the clock. That means LMQ is going to be getting himself a bit of Dragon Gold here. Dragon quite leveled up throughout the game. Almost there to that full average, but full gold you would be able to experience to get out of him. Dyrus. I was going to say he's playing a little dangerous here without any wards, but he should be able to stay safe with his whimsies.
I mean, TSM need to scavenge any gold they can find on the map here.
He's probably excited to find that.
LMQ just have these giant money bags. Their war chest is huge right now, and they're bringing all of it to TSM's front door. Looks like the Ackerman split push will be answered by 2 members of TSM. That seems like a risky play there. See if LMQ can get some more damage down here on bottom. 3 members of TSM heading up top. 4 members! That's a large commitment, but LMQ not shoving heavily.
I'm interested to see if LMQ starts working a few of their teleports. Obviously, it's not going to be XiaoWeiXiao in the bottom lane for this Baron. Maybe it will, but it's going to be hard to get all the way up there. He's got to make a quick jaunt before he does it.
They want to at least secure everything on the map so that if LMQ make another mistake and TSM get a couple kills, then at least there won't be anything on the map for TSM to take in retaliation. So LMQ just biding their time, keeping up the pressure until Baron spawns, at which point they can just start up the Baron, and if TSM come, then that's great for them too, because they can bait them in through all the vision that they will have around Baron. But if TSM don't come, then they also just get the buff, and then we'll turn towards the turrets once again.
I'm interested to see if some kind of crazy teleport comes out of Dyrus. He's got captain boots. So if he gets somewhere in place for the team to keep catching up, very interesting buy from him on the Acidity captain.
Yeah. Right now, since Dyrus is always on the back line, the captain boots are mainly for retreating.
Right. No, yeah,
anybody on TSM who gets too far ahead.
Follow me.
Let's see what happens here. TF ulti does spot them coming in, and TSM do not make the call to go rush in, which would be definitely detrimental to their health. See if they can hold on here. This last outer turret should probably be given up by TSM. That is a very dangerous turret to defend, and nobody's in position. Dyrus, though, has to be real careful. Dyrus is trying to get that last outer from LMQ down before returning. That could cost them inhibitor.
He's got a lot of damage to do on that turret.
Okay, he's got his teleport. He's actually teleporting, not recalling. He might get there in time.
He actually teleports right back to the mid lane inhibitor turret. Still goes down. You're right, Kobe, and we're going to see the inhibitor now taking too much damage to be stomped. LMQ is not even pushed off. That's the Ackerman ultimate coming out. They still hold theirs, however, on the side of Team SoloMid. Nothing too big was used. Just to teleport in.
You cannot mess around with your inhibitor turrets. We've seen this so many times, especially in the North American LCS. Teams trying to answer some sort of little split push to grab a tiny bit of gold for their team. That outer turret of LMQ will not be the difference in the game, but holding onto every inhibitor turret is basically the only hope of these teams that are so far behind. Once that inhibitor turret line gets cracked, it's so easy for the team that's up over 15K gold to just rush right in. Right, it was his 18K gold even. LMQ are up right now.
And history is really repeating itself in this game, Kobe. Previously, as we've seen in these games, it was 43 minutes and 54 minutes.
Yeah, they got the turret. They lost out the local gold though, so it's only half.
Always trying
well, a little
to.
bit more than that.
But as soon as LMQ was able to get those inhibitors, it was less than a minute, then the game ended. So as soon as they break that open, it's very quick to the end. And we'll see if they can do that once again here versus Team SoloMid, a team that has not been able to get the number of LMQ. It's been very much the other way around in every game.
Yeah, massive mid-game LMQ here, looking like the #1 team in North America right now.
Oh my gosh, they're not even past the turret and they can still just shoot out
NoName
damage.
too deep again.
Turret goes down. They may still have control over this fight though, as chaotic as it looks. Still sending TSM into a frenzy. 2 are down. NoName is the only one that has fallen right now, and they still have the crowd control to continue the fight. XiaoWeiXiao gets shot back a bit, but they are going to be able to return to another inhibitor. Looks like they want the bottom now. They're going for everything. Actually, that was just going to be amazing going down. LMQ, very textbook play all throughout the match. If they needed the Baron, they took the Baron. They needed a Dragon, it was theirs as well. And when they wanted it, they got the Nexus. 33 minutes in, LMQ takes down Team SoloMid.
Great game by LMQ. They were able to take that one mistake from TSM, where TSM used up their global teleport. Dyrus teleport going up to the top lane, or to the red buff, and TSM not getting anything out of it, pretty much snowballed the entire game against them. LMQ were able to make use of their mid-game power spike very effectively, steamroll their way to victory.
GG's, handshakes, and camaraderie from both teams. Very well played coming out of LMQ. We saw the Xerath from Bjergsen as he tried to bring something new into the NA scene. Did not work out with the control that was actually given in the mid lane by XiaoWeiXiao himself. At first, NoName was focusing on bottom, so XiaoWeiXiao fended off gank after gank, blowing Ghost and Flash, and then coming out on top of that lane. Bjergsen was one of the players we were to OP5 to watch this weekend. Had a little bit of a struggle there in the game. But
yeah,
Team SoloMid definitely didn't play up to par there as a whole, though.
You definitely do have to give the props to that guy right there, XiaoWeiXiao, for playing that TF versus Xerath Rengar. As soon as he burned both of his summoner spells, had to play extremely passive, never got killed by the Rengar ultimate gank, and he still was able to get his TF roam down bottom and get that guy Vasilii ahead, which was really where LMQ got a lot of that early game power, getting Vasilii buffed up in that lane and pretty much using that to start off pretty much all of LMQ's plays.
LMQ really getting a lot of solid picks in the Gragas, the Lee Sin here, the Twisted Fate, and a Braum for more. Braum's Thresh Moore's Thresh or Braum are just scary things to play against. So to see Team SoloMid come in, I thought it felt very good for them to get the Tristana in the beginning. They stopped Vasilii from getting that, but we saw a just kind of different side of LMQ that we have seen before, where they say, it doesn't matter if you try to take things away from us, our champion pools are that deep that this is still comfort level play, and they showed it on the champions that Ezreal and back on the Twisted Fate for a second play. It just seemed like they'd play in them every day. It's like riding a bike.
Yeah, these picks are no surprise from LMQ. They love that early game. They love the strong mid-game champions, and TSM knew. Everybody knows this about them, and they thought that they could have that counter. But maybe that misuse of globals was just too much.
Right, all right. So LMQ grabbing first to break down LMQ's win. Let's send it over to the guys at the analyst desk.
Thanks, Riv. Now, guys, that was a commanding win by LMQ, and they now have first place all to themselves. Zyrene, are they there to stay?
Man, you asked me this back at Super Week. I think LMQ is the #1 team right now. Big thing about them, and I don't know if you guys knew this, but 8 out of the 9 weeks, they have been tied or in first place so far this split. They have always been there, except for week 2, where they had a little bit of a slump. They're very consistent in their play, and people actually don't realize how good they are. XiaoWeiXiao has been 3-time weekly MVP this split, and nobody else in the NA LCS has gotten more than 1 this split. They are a huge team that has a ton of aggression and individual skill that transitions into a lack of hesitation in team fights, and they come out on top consistently against every team.
So is that coordination and teamwork freak the reason that they're able to stick with kind of more conservative is the wrong word, more usual picks when going into Champ Select? Is that what's allowing them to do that and then still come out with these wins?
Yeah, when I first came in, I thought, okay, a lot of LMQ's early success is because they have the undisturbed roster. They're just on the same page more than anyone else. And the rest of the teams, the CLGs, the TSMs, they'll just level up throughout the season and do fine. Turns out the other teams are leveling up, but LMQ continues to improve. They find new ways to get better, which is incredibly impressive to me. And yes, they can keep playing the same style. We're going to play aggressively over and over again, and that works. What I like about that, though, is they're actually finding these small ways to tweak it. Ezreal is not the most common AD carry. I know it's a Vasilii's champion pool, guys. I realize Vasilii plays some Ezreal, but just the fact that, like, Ezreal TF is not a combo we see very often, but it's so good because he's one of the few AD carries, basically like him and Graves, who can actually reach the target of a TF ult, right? The fact that everyone on that team, Lee Sin, Braum, Gragas, they can all reach that guy that XiaoWeiXiao goes and finds, and XiaoWeiXiao went off that team. He found so many kills for his team, and the fact that they're finding more ways to express their old play style is awesome.
Yeah, and I absolutely love that about LMQ. I was talking to some challenger players, and they were saying my favorite person to have on my team in solo queue is either Vasilii or XiaoWeiXiao. Because even if I go in and I'm being really dumb, they follow me, and it turns out to be a really great play, even though I didn't set it up appropriately.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we were talking about that earlier for you and I, just about the fact that they follow the calls. They're 100% committed to being and committing as a team. The next thing I want to touch on, though, is we look at this TF pick. However, there was a lot of focus on the mid lane by both junglers early in the game. TF got behind. So what was the turnaround there that kind of spurred them ahead so that they could take advantage of those global pick potential?
Well, I mean, that's the thing with TF is he has a reasonable fallback pattern of, I'm going to go with Fiends, I'll spam Qs in my lane, I will get some last hits, I'll pick up scraps, I'm down 20 CS at 10, whatever, I'll manage, right? Like, whatever you can go through. He played far enough back that Rengar can't force the kills, you know, that's all going to work fine. And it's still TF. Just go roam to another lane. Go get Ezreal ahead. You had a gigantic lead in the bottom lane, something like a plus 30 CS lead at some point over, you know, Ezreal over Tristana, which more than compensates for TF's deficit. And it's like, look, if your lane's losing, get out of your lane. It's the same thing with the jungler. You don't gank a losing lane. You gank a winning lane and snowball that ahead, and you just shift your priorities.
Yeah, that's
go for it. No,
I was about to say, that's exactly what we saw happen, too. Bjergsen actually hit 6 first and had about 96 CS at 10 minutes. Hit level 6, didn't use his Rite of the Arcane to just try and destroy XiaoWeiXiao in the mid. XiaoWeiXiao backs, uses his Destiny Gate, goes bottom, gets himself an assist, sets up that lane. Amazing continues to push the mid lane, and then he starts roaming up top, gives them dragons, gives them all this control. So I think LMQ had complete control of that game from start to finish off of these champion picks and their coordination.
And this matchup brings Vasilii to 3-0 against Bjergsen, who was our spring split MVP. So my next question is, what's the deal there, right? Is this Bjergsen falling off? Are we watching him, you know, deteriorate or fall from grace? Or is it instead that, hey, XiaoWeiXiao, this new guy, the meta's fitting him? What's going on there?
I definitely think Bjergsen is still incredibly skilled, right? You still consider him top 3 mid laners in North America. In fact, we're seeing him like build the gap over guys like Shifter, where I think it's increasingly apparent that Bjergsen's a better player there. Where I was like, I don't know, maybe Shifter's number 1, maybe it's Bjergsen, maybe it's XiaoWeiXiao. But I think it's very apparent that Bjergsen's still like top 2 right now. I think he's number 2 just behind XiaoWeiXiao. XiaoWeiXiao actually impressed me so far this split. I knew he was good, but he is clearly incredibly dominant. He's been getting 1v1 kills earlier on. There was like a Ziggs or a like the Yasuo versus Kha'Zix fight like in like week 2 or something, and just time and again, XiaoWeiXiao is obviously an incredible player, and hey, he's great. That's all I can say.
Yeah, so it just speaks to XiaoWeiXiao's dominance then, his success as a player. Zyrene, we're going to pull up a little replay here about 13 minutes in around the red buff, the northern red buff. If you could just walk me through this as a 3-for-1 trade here.
Yeah, and what ends up happening is amazing. He goes in, and he goes in a little too soon without his team. LMQ, they pull an LMQ. TSM tries to pull that strategy where everybody comes in to make it a better play. We're going to start rolling it right now. And Dyrus, he TPs in late. And it's a huge part of it. If he had TP'd in about 5 seconds sooner, it would have been a fantastic play. He ends up getting picked off there. Amazing is no longer involved in this fight. And XiaoWeiXiao just roams. He walks over, doesn't need a Destiny Gate, and it was on cooldown. And they fight in this horrible passageway and trickle in. WildTurtle, he started top, looped all the way through the river, and wasn't even a part of that fight till the very end, and just added on a little bit of damage.
So this is them taking advantage of their mobility as a team, having that TF, but then as you said, their commitment to whatever call's made. We're going in, we're going hard.
Yeah, and what Freak said on the team comp, everybody can follow it up with those picks.
And it's the one difficulty, though, because occasionally you'll see LMQ slip up. Their loss against Cloud9 a few weeks back was the key example of that, where just sometimes they go a little bit too hard, the call is wrong, and about 85% of their calls are correct. But that 15%, if they're wrong and the other team is actually there to defend, they can toss a game away. And that happens every once in a while. It's part of the reason LMQ has a few more losses on the record than maybe they would like. But they're right so darn often that in a regular season situation, it's going to work out more often than not. They're in first place. In a best of 3 or a best of 5, it's typically going to pay out as well, and they'll win, I think, really well in the playoffs on top of that. Because, look, they might lose that one game they shouldn't have lost, but they're going to keep winning the ones they're supposed to.
All right, well, let's jump into another replay freak that arguably won them the game with those calls right there. The 22-minute Dragon fight where they go 3-for-0 and take the Baron off the backside.
Yes, this one's weird for TSM because they've got Amazing trying to go for a steal, and he just basically face checks a pink ward. So roll the clip out. They're going to see LMQ set this up, right? They can see Amazing. He's ready to kind of walk forward, and it's just so easy to be like, hey, you know what? Just hit the spells on him and kill him, right? Glacial Fissure. They just all go in right away. More even go, not, NoName goes in, just kick him back to guarantee the 1 kill, and then it's just a 5-on-4, and they just simply say go, right? XiaoWeiXiao TPs into the far back lines knowing that no one's going to jump onto him. And this is a team comp where they just can keep chasing, keep picking up kills, right? Blow the quote on the first guy, that's fine. I mean, they Glacial Fissured and Lee Sin ulted for one person and said, okay, 5v4, just keep going without ults.
What I love about the way that LMQ team fights is that they just create chaos, right? So often, we saw it in the first game of the day, both teams posture 5 against 5, and they kind of trade skills back and forth, things like that. LMQ is like, we're fighting, and we're going to fight everywhere, and I'm going to duel you one-on-one on the side. I'm going to, we'll have a 3v3 over here, and then XiaoWeiXiao is going to go through the back. Like, it's just like, they create this chaos, but they work so well within that chaos.
Yeah, and LMQ's never going to run a comp like Curse or Dignitas, in my opinion. It's not their style, because that was kind of, if you imagine a medieval battle where both sides only has archers and they're just slinging arrows at each other, just hoping the other side would just completely fall down, they're never going to play that. Their archers have swords. They're going to run up. Vasilii rocket jumps in all of the time, and even if XiaoWeiXiao was playing a ranged mid laner like TF, he's going to dive you. Right now, he's been practicing a lot of Lucian in solo queue mid lane. I think if he whips that out later on in 4.12, he's just going to be right up in your face, dashing all over the team. That is their style, and they love to go in and make no apologies for their actions either.
And there's actually one extra bit to LMQ as well, which I really like. It kind of rounds them out a little bit, is they actually do have the ability to play still aggressive but not divey teams. Like, the old standby for this team was like Nidalee Lucian.
Yes.
Was like, that was their Challenger Series bread and butter as they made it into the LCS, was like, that's not a dive team by any stretch of the imagination. Well, maybe new Nidalee is now, but like, by any stretch is that not a dive team. But it was still an aggressive team. It was, we're going to show up at 1 or 2 items, and we're just going mid lane. And you're not going to deal with it because we're better than you and we're going to make better calls in this. But like, they always pick aggressive strategies, whether they're going for turrets or champions. And again, those work out. So you might see a different style of play in terms of champions, right? You might see the pokers, but it is still a team full of aggression and making offensive moves.
All right, Freak. Well, talking about team fights, they play CLG tomorrow. Arguably one of the better team fighting teams. They have great map rotations, things like that. This is to hold on to first place. What do they need to do specifically against CLG to come out with that win?
To me, it's basically make sure the double F train doesn't get rolling. Like, CLG right now, they looked really weird in that loss they had earlier today, right? And losing to EG is very strange for a team. Like, it's only happened 6 times, right? Like, that's it causes you to really look at that when that happens. And I think you keep the double F train from rolling down the station, and then you're just like, well, XiaoWeiXiao is going to crush Link. And like, down the line, like, I just feel like it should just be a match of the LMQ wins.
Anything to add there, Søren?
No, that's pretty much, I'm going to go pink Pokemon on that one and say ditto.
Yeah. That was great.
That's all I got for that.
That was so awesome. All right, well, thank you guys for all the insight. We'll see how LMQ does tomorrow. We've got a first-place team for the first time, if only for a day.
Sure.
We'll see. Now, we've got to take a break while we set up for our final LCS game of the day, Cloud9 versus Complexity. Don't go anywhere.
I got so much life running through my veins. La 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 la. And it's going nowhere.
Amazing on full stacks, tries to get in. Will he have to blow flash here? The Dragon's Rage into the Sonic Wave. Resonating strike finish. Nicely done by NoName. The steal. The rest of LMQ was kind of filtered in on the backside, and they didn't realize TSM was ready for a fight. They're not even past the turret, and they can still just shoot out damage.
Deep again.
Turret goes down. They may still have control over this fight, though, as chaotic as it looks.